Placido Domingo, in addition to your extensive list of awards and honors, you were hailed on the cover of Newsweek as the King of Opera. And in 2008, BBC Music Magazine published the result of a critics' poll that named you the greatest tenor of all time. Recently, The Guardian summed it all up, calling you the greatest operatic artist of modern times. You maintain an active performing career while serving as General Director of the Los Angeles Opera, Chairman of the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry, President of Europa Nostra, and proprietor of your very own New York restaurant, Pompano. You have sung in every important opera house in the world and have made an unparalleled number of recordings, including more than 100 full-length operas for which you have earned 12 Grammy Awards. You are the winner of 2 Emmy Awards, have made more than 50 videos, and starred in 3 theatrically released films. In 2007, as a true expression of your status as a cultural touchstone, you appeared as yourself in an episode of The Simpsons. Your telecast of Tosca from the authentic settings in Rome was seen by more than 1 billion people in 117 different countries, and your 2008 appearance during the closing ceremony of the Beijing Olympics was seen by an estimated television audience of almost 2 billion people. Your appearances with colleagues Jose Carreras and Luciano Pavarotti in the legendary 3 Tenors concerts were one of the great musical success stories of the 1990s. Since your 1968 Metropolitan Opera debut, you have sung there in more than 800 performances of over 50 different roles. The current season is your 49th consecutive at the Met, and you have opened the company's season a record-setting 21 different times. As a singer, your repertoire includes almost all the important roles in Italian and French operas. As a conductor, you have led more than 500 performances, including opera performances in all the important theaters and symphonic concerts with some of the world's most renowned orchestras. You are a performer of legendary magnificence and one of the great musical ambassadors of our age. And, fittingly, in the context of this ceremony, you are a great mentor and supporter of emerging talent through, among many other vehicles, your influential Operalia World Opera Competition.
Placido Domingo, in recognition of your astonishing list of achievements as a musical artist, impresario, and ambassador, and your well-deserved status as what The Guardian calls the greatest operatic artist of modern times, and with the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Manhattan School of Music and by the Board of Regents of the State of New York, it is my distinct honor to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Musical Arts, honoris causa. Congratulations, Dr. Domingo.
It's very emotional, especially when you have been around so many years and you see so many future artists in front of you. Thank you, President Andre, Interim Provost Gorton, and members of the Board of Directors, members of the faculty, new graduates, students, and family members and friends. It's really a great honor and a pleasure for me to be with you today. An honor to accept your very generous award of an honorary doctorate for myself, and a pleasure to be able to greet the new graduates of the Manhattan School of Music, although I myself was never a student in this great century-old institution. I have some indirect connections with it. My fellow countrymen, the great Spanish cellist Pablo Casals, was one of the advisors involved in the school's creation. And now, Mrs. Marta Casals-Sistemin, his widow, is one of your former presidents and still a member of your board of directors. More directly, I have had the privilege of working with many of your outstanding alumni and faculty members, including Catherine Malfitano, Don Upshaw, Kathleen Kim, Susan Graham, Dolora Sachik, Kate Aldridge, James Morris, Israel Gursky, Craig Rutenberg, and many, many others. Seeing your current students and new graduates here today makes me think back to the late 50s when I was a student at the Conservatorio Nacional in Mexico City, where my family had moved from Spain when I was 8 years old. I was 14 when I entered the conservatory, and I have to say it was a phenomenal avant-garde conservatory about their teachers. They were composers Carlos Chavez, the Halfter brothers, Blas Galindo, and Pablo Moncayo. And I especially remember observing the conducting classes of the great Russian conductor Igor Markevich. With my friend and classmate Eduardo Mata, who became a well-known conductor. He was the conductor of the Dallas Symphony. Unfortunately, he died prematurely, but we were companions at the conservatory. And I can never forget the solfege teacher who used to become angry when someone in the class could not read a part correctly. He will begin to shout, "Musicians!" What we are. I mean, we are not so clever. You know, physicists and chemists have to learn thousands of complicated formulas, and all we have to worry about is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si. These 7 notes with their familiar semitones, it makes 12 notes. But these 12 sounds, my God, can you imagine all the genius that they have created, all the phenomenal work of music? It's amazing. Of course, he was ironic because those 12 sounds, it makes magic for all of us. It was also during those years that I began to I want to notice some of the singers from Mexico's National Opera Company who came to the conservatory for lessons or coaching sessions, and my curiosity was aroused. I observed several teachers' classes, and the world of opera began to fascinate me. My parents, who were both professional singers of zarzuelas, the Spanish form of operetta, gave me some voice instruction at home, and then I began to observe the conservatory's voice classes more seriously than before. I never really had a singing teacher. I remember that once I was playing piano and I start singing, and I see my mother crying, and I said, "What's the matter, man?" And I said, "You have a voice." So she was the first one. Of course, both my parents, they gave me some lessons. But I have one teacher, the Chilean opera singer, Carlo Morelli. He was the brother of another great Otello of his times, Renato Zanelli, both great opera singers. He was helping me, but he was more than vocally a great teacher for interpretation. And it was Morelli's class that I sang a high B flat for the first time. And by chance, it happened on the day that the president of Mexico in those days visited the conservatory. He came to our class and I sang in the quartet from La Boheme. I was so pleased with my new B flats that years later another classmate who happens to be my wife, Marta, who is here with us today, told me that I have been screaming my head off in front of the president, and all because I was so proud of myself. I have to say that later on we have a companion, a baritone from Mexico, Franco Iglesias, which shows Marta and me when we were in Israel for 2.5 years, the support of the voice. I mean, the voice, I mean, it's not, you have voice, but if you don't support, you cannot sing. You know, so thanks to him, we really learned what was singing about. But that's an ancient history. And I have been extremely lucky to have a long and fulfilling career. And I hope that 50 or 60 years from now, many of you who are graduating today will be able to look back on wonderful lives dedicated to music. Even more important, I hope that all of you, regardless of where your careers take you, will continue to love music and to be grateful for the knowledge and understanding of it that you have acquired here. Everything that you are learning now will be with you all your life. But do you realize how privileged we musicians are? We love what we are doing, and we get so much pleasure and satisfaction by doing exactly what we love. At the same time, we can make happy so many, many people. Today is a special day. It is the beginning of a journey. Started with full of passion and enthusiasm, and believe me, in all of life's good or bad moments, it is the music alone that gives us musicians the strength to cope with everything, and I firmly believe that we can make the world a better place to live. I know that at every graduation, every speaker says that you must think of this day not as an end, but as a beginning. And it is true. Here I am, the grandfather of 8 grandchildren, including one great daughter, still learning and singing new roles, still learning and conducting new scores. Now, it is your turn to go out into the world, never stop studying, and to discover great music all your lives. Thank you very much, and congratulations.